Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I am your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, well, I normally don't do this program by myself, but Mike, man, you know what? He's out there earning them dollar bills, y'all. So it's me today, me and you and me. We're going to be here. We're going to have a good time. So thank you so much for tuning in. Very much appreciate it. Very much appreciate it. Before we get started, I got to tell you guys, I got to thank some good friends of mine. King Krav, it's our Krav Maga dojo that I have been attending for quite a while. Hadn't been back there since last July. That's how long it's been. Went there today, and well, let's just say they kicked my butt on Thirsty Thursday. So if I seem like I'm sipping on the water a little bit too much today, well, that's because, like I said, they kicked my butt. So I want to thank Chris and Tom and Don, all the folks over there at King Krav Maga for taking it easy on me today. Yeah, right. They didn't. But anyway, had a good time. Had a very good time with them. Before we get started, though, let's go ahead and give a quick shout out to our sponsors so that you guys can know who is responsible for us bringing the program to you. We're going to start off with Hitman Industries. You can find them at hitmanindustries.net. If you've purchased an AR in the last 5 years, chances are you already have one of their barrels. So why not buy another one? Why not rebarrel your other rifles? Or how about a brand new build? Whatever you're looking to do, you can find what you need at hitmanindustries.net. Then there's the California Republican Assembly. Ronald Reagan called them the conscience of the Republican Party. Folks, these are people who are trying to elect conservatives from school board all the way up to President of the United States. So do us a favor. Visit them at cagop.org or CRA, let me clarify, CRAGOP.org and become a member today. Also want to check out Hog Holsters. You can find them at hogholsters.com. Some of the best concealed carry inside the waistband holsters you will find on the market. And even better than that, you can get a discount. All you got to do is use the Rundown, all caps, no spaces, as your discount code and get a discount today. It's Hog Holsters. Also, you want to visit uscombatgear.com. It's the place to get your outdoor gear, your rain gear, your tactical gear, whatever you're looking for. Trust me, they have it, and they have it for a good price. So check them out, uscombatgear.com. All right, our first subject today. There was a hearing that was held at the border. Now, the specific point of this hearing is to talk about how policy changes and the implementation of those policies have affected our immigration at the southern border. And so, all of the members of the Homeland Security Committee were supposed to go, and originally all had planned to go, and said they were going to go to this hearing that was going to take place in a border town there in Texas. Here, I'll pull it up. But as the article says, Democrats are AWOL. They decided they were not going to participate. They were not going to participate in it. It says here, House members on the Homeland Security Committee took their hearing to the road Wednesday for a closer look at what's happening at the U.S. southern border. It marked the first of several field trips planned by Republicans to investigate the Biden administration's immigration policies and any connection they may have to the influx of migrants into the U.S. Democrats on the committee chose to stay home, calling the move a political stunt. House Committee Chairman, U.S. Representative Mark Green, he's a Republican from Tennessee, defended the decision to hold Wednesday's hearing in Texas, saying it's important that lawmakers get a firsthand look at what's going on if they're going to make informed decisions about how to move forward. He had harsh words for the absent members. By the way, now this is an interesting thing. Well, no, actually, no. You know what? I'll play this later. But basically, what he said, one of the points that he made in his commentary or in his thing today was, look, they've taken positions. Their goal, what they're supposed to be doing is they've taken an oath of office. And in their oath of office, they're supposed to be at committee hearings. And this committee hearing was deemed by the committee chair where it was going to be. If you don't want to participate, then that means you don't want to do your job. And I get that you're saying it's just a political stunt, but there's real things that are going on the border. Let me tell you what a political stunt was. January 6th, that January 6th committee, that was a political stunt. Because in the end, you did nothing but you targeted one person. You didn't look at everything, all of the issues, all of the concerns. You didn't look at the breakdown in security. You didn't take a look at any of that. You didn't look at the decisions made by the speaker at the time. All you worried about was how can we blame Donald Trump, and that's all you focused on. So don't tell me about political stunts. But it was really about understanding how policies and the people who were supposed to implement those policies were impacting the southern border. And that leads us to our second story, where we talk about operational control. And that's where the video that I wanted to play comes in. You guys remember Mayorkas, the director of Homeland Security, went on national TV, went before Congress and said that they have operational control at the southern border. Well, the gentleman who works that southern border every single day, let's just say he has a different perspective. Check it out.
Does DHS have operational control of our entire border?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you for that. I'd like to share it with the American people. This is the actual definition of operational control that is in the code, written into the code well before I came to Congress, the definition, and I appreciate the honesty of Chief Ortiz. Do you think that, let's play a video clip here. I just want to share this question.
Will you testify under oath right now? Do we have operational control, yes or no?
Yes, we do. And
we have operational control of the borders.
Yes, we do.
Chief Ortiz, do you think that Secretary Mayorkas is lying there?
Sir, when you talk about operational control, about 10 years ago, we used operational control as a measuring stick of our effectiveness along the southwest border. My new strategy is geared towards mission advantage.
So I'm asking a very specific question,
yes,
and you're kind of describing how the goalpost has been moved because of the mass waves of people that are coming. My question, you heard the Secretary, he said we have operational control. That's the definition of operational control.
Based upon the definition you have, sir, up there, no.
We don't have operational control.
No, sir.
But is Secretary Mayorkas lying?
I didn't see the rest of the testimony there, sir.
He was asked if we had
question.
operational control, and he said yes. I think it's either ignorance, which is unacceptable, or it's lying.
So you see, by the way, that's the Border Chief Ortiz. You see, he wasn't going to. First of all, he's not going to go and he's not going to say that, yeah, my boss was a liar. The head of the agency to which I answer was lying. But what he is going to say is he is going to speak the truth. And the truth is that we do not have operational control. He made it very clear that they had changed the definition of what operational control was in order to be able to say that we have operational control. But yeah, no, what operational control means now is, are people getting in, right? How many people are we catching and releasing into the United States? And how did that fall? How does that operate as a percentage of people who are just coming on in, right? In other words, that then gets to the point of the known gotaways, right? Which, by the way, is something we're going to talk about a little bit later. But how many known gotaways are there compared to, or unknown? There's known gotaways, and then there's unknown gotaways. And then there's the letaways, I guess we'll call them, the ones, or the catch and release, the ones that you catch, you give them a court date, and you let them go. And overwhelming majority of them are never to be seen or heard from again by our immigration officials. And yet somehow that, by definition, that in their eyes, not by definition, but that in their eyes is operational control of our southern border. I think not. At least that's not what I would call operational control. Now, the funny thing is that no one, pretty much only conservative media covered this. I've noticed, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, Newsweek seems to have taken somewhat of a bent to the right lately, but they're covering a lot more conservative stuff. But, excuse me, but most of the other mainstream media isn't talking about that at all. In fact, what many of them are talking about are fentanyl overdoses. Now, what's interesting about this is, and I'll kind of share this piece with you. What's funny about that is as they're talking about, in particular, as NBC is talking about a fentanyl wave that is hitting Texas. Well, first of all, I'll read a little bit of the story to you here. So here it says, after wave of teen fentanyl overdoses in a Texas community grapples with shock and anger at the epidemic's toll. And let me read a bit of it. The night before Jose Alberto Perez overdosed on fentanyl, the 14-year-old pleaded with his mother not to take him to the hospital because he was not a drug addict. His lips were ash white. His pupils were popping out. The boy's mother, Lilia Astudillo, I think that's it, said, but she yielded to his wishes despite his obvious distress. Astudillo planned to get her son medical attention the next day, but by morning he was dead. It hurts you to see your son after he's gone and ask yourself, why didn't I know about this sooner to help him? Jose, who died in January, was among the nearly 12 students spread across 3 schools in Carlton Farmers Branch Independent School District in Texas who have overdosed on fentanyl from September to March. He is one of 3 who have died. The rash of overdoses has brought shock and anger to families in Carlton in the Carlton community, about 20 miles north of Dallas. It is a sobering reminder of how rampantly fentanyl has made its way to young people in recent years. Now, you're wondering, why am I talking about this? Because in this entire article, as I am reading it, as I'm reading about what is going on there in Texas, interestingly, there's absolutely, and once again, they're talking about not just there, but they're talking about it in Arlington, in Portland, in Los Angeles. They're talking about it happening all over the country. But here's what they're not talking about. They're not talking about the fact that this stuff is being carried over the border by drug cartels, by drug mules. That these very same open borders, the borders that the Democrats refuse, absolutely, positively refuse to go and see, is exactly where this fentanyl is coming from. Now, all of the precursors that are used to make fentanyl, that's coming from China. Those are manufactured in China. They're brought over to Mexico, and the Mexican cartels are assembling them, or they're using them to make the fentanyl. And then they are shipping it into the United States. And then in many cases, and they keep calling these overdoses, these are not overdoses because in many, well, not all of these are overdoses. In many cases, these are poisonings because you have young people or people in general who are thinking they're taking some other form of illicit drug. They're thinking they're taking Molly or ecstasy. Oh no, those may be the same thing. I don't know enough about drugs, but they think they're taking oxycodone or Oxycontin, and what they're actually getting is something that is either wholly or at least partially cut with fentanyl, because fentanyl is cheap, fentanyl is more powerful, and so now the problem is because it's more powerful, it's also a lot more deadly. But they don't want to talk about any of that. They don't want to talk about the fact that maybe if we had operational control of our southern border, then maybe we wouldn't be dealing with so many fentanyl overdoses. Just saying. I mean, even with what they have done, they've captured, and then the White House brags about the fact that they have captured, or they have what's the word I'm looking for? They have confiscated record amounts of fentanyl. But they've also allowed into the country record amounts of fentanyl. Once again, because we do not have a secure southern border. Anyway, it is a very, very sad piece. And but like many pieces like this in the mainstream media or in the legacy media, it clearly ignores the real point, and that is there's a place to stop this, but it's not politically correct. So no one over at NBC News is interested in actually stopping it because, well, that might require doing something around the issue of immigration. And that gets to our next story, which has to do with gotaways. One of the things that was pointed out by the U.S. by Chief Gonzalez in his testimony was the number of gotaways that there are. Now, gotaways are people who they know came into the country illegally, but they weren't able to detain them long enough to get their identification, find out who they are, and then release them with a court date. Now, and that, by the way, gotaways are different from, these are known gotaways. We don't know how many unknown gotaways there are, but they're saying there have been 1.5 million gotaway migrants during Biden's term. Think about that, 1.5. Now you add that to the millions that we know that have already gotten in. I mean, this is ridiculous, folks. You do not, and these are all folks who are right there at our southern border. I mean, the communities that are there on our southern border, those border towns, those border states, they are bearing the brunt of this. Now, think about this. You have some cities like Chicago and New York and Washington, D.C., that are complaining about thousands of these immigrants. They're complaining about thousands, and yet millions are coming across our southern border. And we don't know who they are. Many of them are coming to places like California where they're creating a great dependency, or they're doing jobs that Americans would do. And let's just get away from that. They are not here. Many of them are not here to do jobs that Americans won't do. If they're working in the construction industry, those are jobs that Americans would do. If they're working in the service industry, for example, if they're working in the service industry, they're doing jobs that Americans would do. I'm sorry, but that is just the case. Now, well, let me clarify. They're probably not doing them right now because Biden and some of these Democrat governors are handing them fat checks to stay at home, right? And they're going now from unemployment. Now that unemployment is starting to dry up, they're now creating these guaranteed income programs where they're basically paying people to do nothing. But, so yeah, they probably are doing jobs that Americans won't do until they figure out that they too can get a check for just sitting at home. And somebody's going to pay for that. I wonder who exactly that is going to be. Yeah, I'm kind of looking in the mirror because I think that's going to wind up being us, right? You, me, and the rest of the gang. It is what it is. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and we've hit that point in our program where we are at our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters, helping America wear guns. Go get your Hog holster today by using the discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces. Get your Hog holster today. That's right, get it today. All right, now we talked about the mainstream media and what they're reporting. And by the way, this is just pretty standard. You know that they lost a lot of business. They've lost a lot of viewership since Trump left the White House. Well, that's why this is their kind of new mantra. Whenever something happens, whenever there's a news report, if it's breaking news, you'll start to see this now. Say technical difficulties. Please stand by while we figure out how to blame Trump, because everything now is Trump's fault. You look on here; it's got the little logos for MSNBC, ABC, CBS, CNN. Like you could put the New York Times, the Washington Post, every other, the Sacramento Bee, the LA Times, put all those papers in there because all of them are so busy blaming Donald Trump for what's going on in the world. Or they're just flat out lying, right? Like in this case, in the top you have KJP, White House spokesperson, saying, so the economy identifies as doing well. And that's the sort of denial that you tend to get from KJP, on behalf of the White House. But underneath, you got Peter Doocy there. But its pronouns, its pronouns are bull and spit. And the spit is not with a P. So you probably know what he's saying. So yeah, and that's true because anyone who knows and recognizes reality, well, they know that the economy is not doing well. We just watched a couple of major banks, both the second and third largest bank failures in history. We saw both of those happen. We know that the participation rate is at a record low. Inflation is still high. Regardless, they say it's going down. That does not mean prices are going down. It just means that if inflation is down, it means prices aren't going up as fast. So yeah, no. Liar, liar, pants on fire. But then again, that's what they do. They lie, right? That's why, according to Democrats, and it probably should include the mainstream media, this is what you see. So in other words, you've got average people, and I do not even know dude's name, but he was one of the folks that was performing at, I believe it was the Grammys. The dude with the top hat with the devil horns, who was I said dude, I'm sorry. Did I gender him? Good. I'm glad. Okay. So I gendered him. Yeah. But he was the one that was twerking in the devil suit during the Grammys. They're considered average, normal people. And obviously the father and daughter there. Did I just gender them too? Okay, good. Yeah, that's okay. I'm okay with gendering them. Okay. That are sitting there with the Bible open in front of them who are praying. Yeah. They're deemed to be extremists. And that's what's funny. And it's one of the oddest things for me in right now, kind of where I'm at is, and being in California, I believe that, men are men and women are women. I believe you can, so therefore that makes me an extremist. I believe that just because I'm black does not mean that I am oppressed. And just because you may be white does not mean that you are my oppressor. That makes me a racist extremist. I don't get it. I really don't, because I happen to believe that when it comes to, for example, voter ID, that black people are just as capable of going and getting an ID as anyone else. Well, that makes me an extremist who wants to deny the rights of black people to vote. Those are the lies they tell. Tell me I'm wrong. I know. They're going to tell me I'm wrong, that they don't mean that. But then their policies and the things they promote say exactly that. So, anyway. Let's see here. Well, before we go, I want to make sure to give you another shout out to our sponsors, Hitman Industries. You'll find them at hitmanindustries.net. Go there, get your rifle and pistol caliber barrels today. Then you've got the California Republican Assembly. Be a part of California's future today. Become a member of the California Republican Assembly. Hog Holsters, you'll find them at hogholster.com. Use the discount code RUNDOWN, all caps, no spaces. Get your Hog Holster today. And finally, veteran-owned and operated uscombatgear.com is the place to get all of your tactical gear, outdoor gear, all your fun stuff that you like to play with. Anyway, folks, that's going to be it for today's episode. We very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We're going to be back tomorrow on Feedback Friday. So if you all got anything you all want to talk about, put it in the description or put it in the comment section of this video, and we'll go on this program, and then we'll go ahead and throw that into the conversation tomorrow. In any case, take care, and we will holla at you mañana.